Hello everybody, I'm going to make another mandrel. I've made one before but I didn't do it and film it, but this is just going to be a 3/4 inch mandrel so I can hold some small stuff with a 3/4 inch bore in them and turn the OD on them and then put them back in the lathe so I can do the center hole accurate with the OD. Anyway, I'll bring you down here and show you what I'm going to do. I got a piece of 3/4 inch stock here. It is let me see here, make sure I get my measurement right. I'm going to face both ends. Yeah, I got 8.5 inches all I'm going to need. So I'll bring you down here and show you what I'm going to do on this. To start with, I'll face both ends off and chamfer them and center drill them. I'm going to set up in my 6-jaw chuck and then dial it in on that. I've only got a few thousandths here and there. I can dial in and get it down to half a thousand, maybe less. Okay, so what I'm going to do is one end is going to be turned back. Let's see, I'll have to figure on that length, but anyway, one end is going to be turned back to right to the first threading where the thread starts to 0.640, see if it fits, so I can slide a 3/4 10 nut over that, and then it'll put both of them on here and thread them on here. I'm going to thread it from the center 2 inches both ways, so it'll be a 4-inch total. And the other end I'm just going to leave round, and I can dial that in really close in my 6-jaw chuck, and this end will have a center in it. But I'll center both ends just in case I want to use a lathe dog. So that should take care of what I'm going to start on, and we'll take you over the lathe again. Yeah, again, I was over there before, but I forgot I had wanted to do this first. We'll go back to the lathe and get stuff set up there to do the facing and turning. All right, I'm set up here. Hope I don't get too much glare on that thing. Just see. There you can see it moving. So anyway, on this, on the 6-jaw, you go to the lows, or the highs here. Let's see, there's a high. We're going to loosen the high. And go back around the other one here and tighten it. Tighten the low. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute, I went the wrong way. This always confuses me, but I'm pretty close right now. Looks to me like I'm about within half a thousandths or less, if you can see that. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right there. That's just under half a thousandths, close enough on the 6-jaw. These things they don't repeat. That's why I do a fine adjustment on when I want to do something that's pretty accurate. So let's see, that is a high. That is a low right there. I'm going to try just a touch on that, but I don't know if I'll get much more. I think half a thousandth is about all you're going to get out of this thing. Well, let's just try loosening this just a touch on the high. All right, now let's see. Yeah, went too much there. I'm going to pause here. I'll show you when I come back so I don't waste too much time here on the camera. Okay, you can see this now. These are real touchy because you're dealing in, I don't know, less than half a thousandths or a thousandths when you want to try to get it to, but I got it dialed in now, and I'm just, I don't know, about a half, maybe a little under half a thousandths. So now we're going to go ahead and face this off and chamfer it and center drill it. Get this indicator out of the way. Okay, I'm going to face this off at 1282 and see how she looks. I want to get rid of that bigger hole there in the middle. Now let me see now, I didn't move that. I want to go over 2 inches and make a mark. That should be good enough right there. Let me zero out my Z. And we'll go over 2 inches because I face that off, so this is not going to be, the mark's not going to be perfect here. I got to go a little further. Oh, wait a minute, I just want to go over that mark. That's right. Let me double check this real quick. Yeah, see, I'm a little bit over, that's okay. Because that mark should be really close to where I want to thread. Okay, let's just put a mark there, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough or not until I look at the center of the piece here. All right, I'm going to slow this down now and then center drill it. I'm going to slow her down to 654. Okay. Take the chuck out here, put my center in. Let me see now here. All right. Well, let me see here. I want to clean that hole out. I'm going to pause for a minute. I got to go get my mic and stuff. Forgot to bring that over here. All right, I'm set up here now to turn this down to, oh, I've got to get my paper here. I'm going to turn this down to 0.640. It doesn't have to be perfect because all I want to do is get it close to that and try the nut. Make sure the nut, a 3/4 10 nut, slips over this dimension here so I can get it threaded on the threads. Here we go, we'll touch off here. Let me check. I better check to see if I got my direction right. Nope. This doesn't have a forward and reverse on the carriage here, so you gotta shift it up above. Here we go. We'll take off 20 thousandths here and see how that goes. I got to change some stuff up here. I want to run my 431 in here. I'll set a carriage stop here. Let me see here. Let me see here. Okay. Oh. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to pause you for a second again. I've got to get my handle back in here. I want to run that 431 so I don't get maybe stop some of this real fine bird nest. All right, I got this changed over to this 431. We'll do another touch off, take a little bit and take a measurement, see how much I got to take off. Okay, I can get some of that stuff out of the way. Take a measurement here and see how much I got to take off. Get my my calculator over here. My mic. Sorry about the hand, but kind of in a tight spot here. Let me see. Okay, here it is. 0.705. And we'll minus my minus. All right, I hit the wrong button there. I've got to take off 65 thousandths. So let's see, we'll do about, being that's a chrome rod, I don't want to push too much on it. We'll see if I can do 50. Actually, I'll try about 40. Uh-oh. It's not moving. I forgot. I don't know. We'll have to redo this. I'm just trying to get used to this DRO. And take this much off. I'll figure out what it is here. Take another measurement. All right, I'm going to try this all over again. I'll get it here. What we got here now? $680. Okay, looks like 40 thousandths yet. So we'll just dial this in here. I'm just going to set my X to 0. Let's see. Let's dial in about 30. Now I'll go to 25. Now I'll go 30. All right, one more check here. Should be close now. That looks like we need 9 thousandths. Do one more check on that. Get it on the end here. 649, so 9 thousandths. I gotta practice a little more on that DRO setting it up. I don't do enough to figure it out. All right, let's try this now and see where we're at. All right, let's do a check on that. See if I hit it, taking the 9 off. This old lathe is close, but not perfect. $6403, that's probably close enough. What I'm going to do now is just check the nut here and see if it slides over that. Let me back this out of the way. And we're back to, I don't need to loosen that. Back the center all the way. Okay, perfect. I wanted that a little loose anyway. I don't want it to fit real tight on there. That'll work. Okay, we'll pause this for now. Could have went a little less than I did, but that's okay. All right, we'll pause this and then I'm gonna get it turned around and set it up for the other end. All right, we got the other side dialed in and set in there. We're gonna face this and center drill it and chamfer. That's all I'm gonna do on this end. Oop, didn't have her in gear. I want to check this because it looks like there's a nick in there. I don't know if a chamfer will take that out. No, I'll have to take a little bit more off there. See how that looks. I think my chamfer will take that out now. Yeah, I think so. Okay, now we're going to center drill this. Now let's change tools. My homemade chamfer tool. Okay, we'll slow this down to 654 again. All right, now we'll chamfer that off and we'll set it up and get ready to thread it. Okay, I got to complete another setup here, so we'll get set up before I start threading. All right, we're going to touch off here with a radius tool and do a thread recess here on this end and down. Going to go about 4.5 inches of thread here, somewhere roughly in that area. So here, we'll touch off here and go that depth. Keep a little oil on her. I should have went over a little bit. I have to touch that up. All right, there's 150. I gotta see if I gotta touch that up, maybe go over just a touch. Yeah, get rid of that piece there. That should be good enough there. Get that piece out of there. Just clean that center up just a little bit. All right, let me blow that off a little bit so I can look at it better. Okay. Now, you gotta get over here and do it at about 4.5 inch. So somewhere's where we're at. See, it should be right at 0. Yeah, okay. We'll zero out the Z. I got to move my carriage stop here. Let me see what I got here. And a little bit more here. DRO is right there close. See better here, there we go. I'm going to go right to there, that's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect, just give me enough room for my nuts and the piece I'm going to put on there. We'll touch off again here. Gotta move my oil so I don't get my hand too close to that chuck. I thought it sounded like I broke the tip off there, but it's all right. That's those chips popping. Whoa, weird noise. Almost there. That's good enough. All right. Well, they come popping off there just like the tip of the tool broke off. Okay, then we'll get set up for threading. All right, we're set up here to thread now. I'm going to touch off and set my threads, my stop for the carriage. Not the carriage, excuse me, the cross slide, and that'll bring me back there every time without having to look at my dial or look into DRO. All right, there's my 0. I'll lock this stop down now. I made this, there should be there's a video on there making this for this little Blond lathe. Make sure that's tight. That way I just pull back and go back and push forward on it and then set the cross slide for a little bit. I mean the compound, excuse me. That's locked. Let's see how we do here. Okay, now we're zeroed out. We'll take a minute here, put my Allen wrench away. We will take probably just 10 and check it. I don't know, maybe 5 even. Let's see here, double check. There's a 5. I'm just gonna hit every number on here, should be fine for 10 thread. Okay, check it with my thread gauge, double check it. Looking good. It sure is rough, man. I wonder if that insert's chipped or something. I'll try another cut here and see, maybe to a 10. Of course, this is chrome on the top, so get underneath it should be all right. Okay, now we'll go to do a 10 here and give her just a touch of oil. I could go faster, but I don't like threading too fast. Especially the coarser the thread, the faster the carriage moves across the table. Let's see what that looks like. Still pretty rough. I'm going to pull this out here and take a look at that. I don't know. Okay, let's go with another 10 here. Let's see what happens. I don't know. It's kind of roughing it up, but it still might be in the chrome. Well, that sure is rough. I'm going to try my other tool. Let me stop here. All right, I put my other tool in here, but it looks like it's doing about the same thing. I think that chrome is making a mess trying to cut those threads, but it'll be all right. So we'll get started again here. It's 5 now, so I don't take that tool. both of them off there. I think you got 5 minutes. That's probably doing that. I'll try the nut here. Maybe closer. So that's the thread in the chrome rod. I don't think it'll go clear. Try it. No, making a 5 out there. And that's the thread. And if I can do it right now. All right, here we go. Okay, blow this off a little bit, try that nut now. Getting close now. Nope, still too tight. Another 5. Try once more. It's getting real close now. Everything's different on my settings because I changed the tool, so I'm at 155 on the depth, which is not what it is. But still too tight. Okay, another 5. Clean that off. All right. If I had my settings were all right, I wouldn't worry about it, but I've got to do this by feel on the nut and stuff. So here we go. Kind of a pain to keep stopping it, but my compound slide's not going to read right being I changed the tool and everything. Keeps going just a little bit. Yeah, I can see him. Just do another 5. Sure, close now, but I don't know, hopefully. Let's go. Nope. There goes more. Boy, what's on here? Pretty sharp now, should go. Start to. Okay, another one. Well, if I hadn't changed tools, I wouldn't be having this many checks. There we go. I'll just do a scratch pass on there. That's pretty good. It's not too loose or anything. I don't know if I'll even do a scratcher on it. Just hit those threads with a file, just a light file on them. Finally, I lucked out, got it just about perfect. Nice and snug. Make sure she goes all the way. That's hot. Okay, we'll stop here, excuse me, and I got to get set up. We'll make some nuts for it next. Okay, I finished that mandrel up, but now I'm going to make a couple of brass washers to fit against the nuts so that if you tighten something in there, it won't scar up your part that you're trying to OD turn on it. So I got a couple of brass washers here, but they're only around 5/8 ID. I'm going to take a mill and 3/4 mill and run it through those holes. Now I'm using the MMM jaws to hold that with this MMM vice stop that I made. And I found the center of this just with my center piece here, right in the center. So now we'll change over to the 3/4 inch end mill. Okay, see if I've got clearance here. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay, now I'm running 900 right now. See how that does. All right, I've got a gauge pin here, 3/4. See how it fits. Perfect. It's nice. Okay, we'll slip the other one in there and do it. Hey, here we go. Do the last one. Check it with the pin again. Get my hand out of the way you see this one. Perfect. Nice fit. Okay, now we're going to take these out. They're out. Take this one out and go over to the lathe and put them on the mandrel and turn the OD down to the same OD as the nuts are. All right, I'm set up in the lathe on that 3/4 inch mandrel I made. I want to turn this OD down on these brass washers about the same as the nuts. I might even hit the nut just a little bit on the flat, high spot of the flats here. So we'll go from there. Let me check, make sure I got the right direction on the feed. Okay. Running 654 on the RPM. Have a DMNG in there for the cutter here, the insert. Should be getting close to the nuts now. Just want to take a little at a time here. There we go. Okay, we'll just go a little bit and do the whole thing here now. That's going to be a nice little mandrel for small stuff. Should be good enough. I could actually take just a little bit more off there and get her down just a touch more. We'll try 10 thousandths to see how that does. Looks pretty good now, I think. Yeah, we just touched the edges nice here. Perfect. Done. All right, now it's ready for some work if I can find something else to do. All right, we'll see you on the next one.